I don't know. I don't even know where to start. It. You're right though. Like when you were telling me that each season kind of finds a way to outdo itself. Season two, man, was better than season one. And more particularly, episode three was probably my favorite episode so far in the entire series. Now, I don't even know where to start here. Just let me know if there's anything you want me to update you on as to what happened in this season. I know you're. Did you watch
I
season two right when it came out?
Yeah, I
You're
remember most of the big beats.
hmm
So go ahead.
Yeah. But basically, this one picks up right where the last season was with something I thought was funny was how quickly the whole terrorist threat kind of gets neutralized in the very beginning of the first episode. It's just like that guy that was that terrorist that you thought was going to be a big deal. He gets Blackmore kills him immediately.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay. The whole plot with Butcher and the mother and daughter, Becca and the son. Uh, that whole gets crazy. I'm struggling to even think of like where to start. Like I would actually say I'll start with a negative. Actually, something I didn't really particularly like in this season, which I think might be the first side plot that I'm not crazy about, is the whole what was it? The Church of
Oh,
the Deep stuff. The Church of
something.
Light. I think it
Light,
was
was
like
that what?
Church of something. But yeah, that whole plot with like the Deep, and then there was the Archer guy. Everything that was going on with there, the whole weird Patton Oswald as his gills talking to him while he was high on drugs.
Yeah.
That was probably the only plot point where I'm just like,
Yeah,
eh.
well,
I
they're
think it's
playing
more
the
like a
deep more.
Scientology reference.
Yeah, it was a joke about the Church of Scientology and just kind of
hmm
playing the deep for laughs. Like, he's kind of the joke
hmm
character in this whole thing, so.
Well, that plays on the whole Aquaman being the joke thing for
Yeah.
many years as well. But yeah, I guess just all of the major plot points. It's just, the group is on the run after what happened with um Homelander's mom or girlfriend mom thing, and I don't know. There's so many funny scenes. I'm just gonna run through funny scenes. The whole translucent funeral was great
Yeah.
because you have Homelander pretending to care about translucent. That was hilarious. You have poor Blind Spot. Do you remember Blind
Mm,
Spot? What a awful way to deal with a handicapped person on Homelander's behalf. Then you have the CIA director who's getting ready to. Yeah, I guess that's a major plot element too of the whole of is all of the head popping because throughout the season, every time our heroes are getting ready to uncover something or to do something crazy,
yeah.
somebody's head pops, and you don't really find out until the very end of the season, which is kind of interesting. I guess spoilers obviously here, but um, I would I have a question though, like so she must be working for Edgar and Vought, right? Because
Maybe.
because every time she does somebody, she blows up somebody's head. It's just when Vought is getting ready to, or something bad's getting ready to happen to the hero or to the Vought heroes, or to Vought itself. Like
Mm,
the whole courtroom scene, she has to be under Edgar because she's not really doing anything that benefits normal people. Everything she does
could
is just
be.
covering up for
Could
the
be.
company.
You'll find out when you get to season 3. I'm not gonna spoil it for you.
Mm, sheesh. All right. Let's see. And we get introduced to oh my goodness, we get introduced to this new hero that gets brought into the group called Stormfront. And her plot analogy throughout the entire thing is just so obvious and so kind of funny. I mean, I guess in a way she's supposed to be the Orange Man in real life, he who must not be named, I guess. I mean, right? I mean, it's the whole like her building up I mean, she makes the perfect quote to Homelander where she's like, you don't need you don't need 10 million people who like you. All you need is, you know, a million people who love you, and they're willing
I
to do
don't know if
whatever
it's
they
a
want.
direct, comparison to that, but I mean, you can make that if you want. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't think.
Well, the whole like social media aspect to how she comes to power and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I
But
don't. I mean, when I first watched it, I didn't immediately jump to that as the
really,
comparison. I mean, I could see how
it's actually
somebody
my brother
would.
that was like the thing the whole season. We were like, oh, it's I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I'd be interested if that's what other people took from it. So feel free to let me know in the comments if that's not what you
Definitely
saw.
wasn't where I went with it. Granted, it's been a while since I watched it. I don't know if my feelings would change now, but I don't know if that's what the showrunners were even trying to get
Mm.
at. I mean, I mean, she's, basically, she's a Nazi, so.
She even says keep America safe again. Let's make America safe again
Oh,
in the season. She literally
maybe.
says that. Yeah. But I don't know, man. This season, this show just takes so many crazy turns. It's
Yeah, that's the thing I was saying about this. This show, it's always unexpected. Like, the whole head popping thing, when that first started happening, it is so out of the blue.
that
Um,
courtroom scene is awesome.
yeah.
It's horrible.
This show, it's so hard to predict. I think that's what I like about it. Like the plot and the characters and the acting, all of that's good. But what is interesting about it is just it always keeps you on your toes. Like that was what I think I used to always like about Game of Thrones. Like you never really knew what was going to happen. This show has that same feel, just almost in a more just like, um, man, I don't even know, unanticipated fashion. So it's always unanticipated. It's always horrible. Like, for the most horrible thing you can think of, this show always takes it a step further. Even that was it when he was having a Homelander, that fake dream sequence, or when he was sitting up there giving the speech to all those
Oh, he's
people,
giving the
and
speech
he
to the
envisions
people.
just basically lasering them all in half.
That
And at
was
first,
awesome.
you think that's real, right? And then he snaps out of
Hmm.
it, and that's just how messed up this show is. Like these characters can do any of these things that are just horrific at any given point. Like it wouldn't have surprised me if what Homelander did in that moment was a real reaction, right? And just flew away after
Hmm.
slicing everybody up. And it only builds upon that every season. So I mean, I don't know if there's anything in particular I can even note on with season two in particular. All I can say is it just gets worse as you get to season three. So
Yeah.
be ready.
I actually have that on my notes, which I thought was an interesting point that I put there for Homelander. Is just he's so darn. I'll read it word for word. He's so darn interesting. The whole idea of him feeling like, in a way, he feels superior above
Mm-hmm.
everyone, and he hates people, and he thinks they're all ants. But then also at the same time, he has a fear of being alone and wants to be loved by everyone.
Yeah.
And that weird, strange connection definitely connects him with his son's isolation in this fake town, because they're trying to keep him away from him, and
It's hard because, I
it's
mean, they do try to make Homelander sympathetic
they
sometimes because
do.
you can understand. I mean, what they did to him was horrible too. It's not like
Hmm.
he, started out some innocent or some, like he was evil from the get go, right? He was just an innocent victim of this whole system. Doesn't make
Hmm.
anything that he's done any less horrific, but you get it. So it's hard though because you almost can't feel sympathetic for him because he's so evil and over the top
Yeah.
pretty much. But it's not that he's evil for like evil's sake either. He's selfish is what it is and just so nihilistic. And I don't know. He's a very interesting character, as you said.
Another scene I have it in my notes here that's really adds to like the kind of sympathetic, empathetic, I don't know, aspect of some of the heroes and Homelander as well is the part where Compound V gets released out into
Hmm.
the media and it becomes known all of a sudden that heroes are created and aren't born. And I love the scene of all of the different heroes who are like sobbing and are so sad because of like how they could have been normal people, but they're
Yeah,
created. Like there's a scene of him like Homelander in this hallway, crying his eyes out, laughing, having all these different emotions. Black
yeah.
Noir is sobbing quietly in his room, like reading, watching the the phone. It's I don't know. They find a way of making some of these characters. Uh, well, they don't find they are people.
Yeah.
They I don't know.
Well, that's what I think I mentioned this last time, I'm sure, but that's what's interesting about this show is these are not your idealistic superheroes, right? That they just stick to these, unshakable moral standards, right? Like you think about like Captain America or something like that, or Superman, right? These guys, they have these set of rules and standards, and they never will veer off them because they're just these perfect beings, which is so unrealistic. Like that, retrospect, I guess is something I even appreciate about Zack Snyder's Superman take. He's at least, I don't want to say fallible, but he questions if he should be helping humanity and kind of struggles a little bit with some humanity. Whereas many like MCU characters, you don't get that very often, right? Captain
It definitely
America is
pulls
always
some.
Go ahead.
No, it definitely pulls from like the Watchmen idea of like how do we make these people fit into society and how do
Right.
they
It
come to
grounds
terms with what
them
they are. Yeah.
with how true people would handle superpower, especially in a world that idolizes superheroes like that. They are not heroes; they are celebrities. So you think about even in our world, you think about all the celebrities out there in the world and how they abuse their fame sometimes, right, for selfish intents. You think about that now with superpowers attached to it, and I think this is a pretty accurate depiction of what it'd probably be like. Hopefully not, quite as horrible as some of these people are, but
Yeah.
given similar circumstances, I could
We'll throw in like
see.
capitalism and how capitalism fits into corporatization of all these things, and
Yeah,
it's all like a perfect mesh of real life things along with just some heroes mixed in.
as horrible and as out there and extreme as this show is, it still feels real in a lot of ways. So I think
Hmm.
that's why I appreciate about it, just from kind of a plot structure and narrative standpoint.
Yeah. I threw in another scene is the whole Maeve because everyone knows she's a lesbian now,
Mm,
and they make a movie solely about her where it's all about her being a lesbian. I don't know. I found that funny. Um, Another crazy scene. I guess episode 6. I'll move on to the whole Stormfront and Homelander getting it on. That's something throughout the entire show. Like because they build it out at the beginning that you think he hates her,
mm,
but then you realize that she's just as evil as him, maybe more so, and it their whole scene is just crazy.
yeah,
It's so weird.
the whole
I thought
relationship is crazy, but
she's like he's like lasering her, and she's like do it harder, and I'm just like
that was too much
she's
for me. Too much for me.
Oh, I guess another cool plot point I'll bring up is the whole stuff that happens at Sage Grove where they have freaking
mm,
Iceman as lamplighter.
yeah, which is funny because that's the exact opposite of his X-Men character. They had to
Yeah,
have
that
done
was
that on
pretty great.
purpose.
Oh, yeah, of course that was expected, but all of that stuff was really cool to see with like I guess Stormfront is continuing on some like German Nazi
Yeah,
experimentation on other people with superhero or trying to give them superheroes, and the whole thing with Lamplighter is pretty interesting. I mean, he I guess he what is it, the whole hero porn thing was super weird where
mm,
he's like I guess he's con- I guess he's watching like cuck porn because he's connecting himself with that because of him not being a part of the Seven anymore because he wants to be so a part of it, but he's not, and he's older, and they kicked him out, and it's just like I love to use like conversation with him where he gets him to help him, and he's just like, "You don't want to be the cuck, you want to be the husband screwing the husband screwing the wife," and it's just so it's so
it's
funny. I don't know.
terrible. It's terrible.
Uh, do, do, do. I'm trying. Oh, so I guess I'll just go. I'm trying to think. What else? I mean, there's a bunch of other things, but I'll just go straight to the very end. Um, I'm very intrigued to see where it goes. Essentially, what happens at the end is Butcher almost succeeds in getting Becca and Ryan, the son, out of the kind of enclosed town, fake town, and they do like this really cool thing where they draw Homelander away using these like speakers
mm,
that emit like a really high pitched sound, which I guess it seems like he does have a weakness, which it would be loud noises maybe or really high pitched. I mean, the granted they don't like that doesn't defeat him, but it definitely annoys the heck out of
mm,
him. Um, so basically, yeah, they use this noise, draw him away, go out and get Becca and Ryan, escape. Which that was a really cool scene too when Homelander comes back to the cabin, and it's just the Vought people there that cut the deal with Butcher, and Butcher screws them over
yeah,
because you know those soldiers in there like they know what's up. They know
mm,
there's no getting
it's
out of
done
there.
for.
Yeah, so basically, and as they're getting ready to make their escape, Becca, Ryan, and what is his name? I always his name's like Milk
Oh,
something.
Mother's Milk.
Mother's Milk. Yeah,
Amen.
he's getting ready to escape with them, and then Storefront shows up and puts all that to end. Um, did you really like the whole woman beatdown scene between the three ladies in Stormfront? I thought it was pretty funny where like the guys are all looking at each other. They're like, "No, we're not getting in the middle of this."
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty entertaining. And then yeah, then it moves on with. I'm kind of curious as to what exactly happens because so Stormfront is getting ready to kill Becca, and Ryan steps in
Mm-hmm.
as they're trying to escape. And Ryan, of course, kills Stormfront because he finally is able to use his abilities, which is Laser Eyes. Apparently, it's his only ability that we know of. But it seems as though his laser abilities are more powerful than Homelander's because Homelander is using during their weird sexcapade. Homelander's like outright attacking Stormfront with it, but Ryan's is so powerful. He actually like turns her into Anakin Skywalker
Yeah.
and like removes all of her limbs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if that's his special ability is the laser eyes, or if that's just one of them. Well, I guess you know probably
Yeah,
more
I'm
than
having
I.
a real hard time here because, like, since I've seen season three, it's hard for me to go back and retrospectively critique
Recontextualize.
too.
Yeah.
Like, just because it just goes so many other places. So I'm just kind of letting you talk, man. I'm sorry. I know it's not the most exciting way to have this
No, no, I
conversation,
get it.
but
I get it.
um,
The whole point of
yeah,
this was for me just to
catch up.
get catch up. Yeah, but yeah, I really like how it ended. I mean, I would just say it seems weird that Becca died the way she did. Again, that you probably because it seems as though like her injury seems as though she was like stabbed. Like her injury seems totally different than what happened to
When I
Stormfront.
recall, she got like the whole point. I guess she probably got part of the blast across her neck, which, if it went deep enough and hit her jugular, it's gonna bleed out there.
Mm.
I think they didn't want to give her as graphic of a maiming afterwards, because then they couldn't have had the nice send off with Butcher and her being like, no, don't go, kind of thing. Um,
I was waiting for Butcher to be like, ah, I have the high ground, Stormfront.
um,
I hate you.
yeah, so man,
But
that played well enough for me.
yeah, and then I really like the scene at the end where Homelander is getting ready to kill all of them, but Maeve shows up with the evidence of the recording that they pulled
Yeah,
from the ship about the whole plane going down in season one, and yeah, so they essentially use evidence against him, talking about how no one will love him if this gets out, and Homelander decides to, I guess, just let everything go. I mean, he has no choice, right? If he wants to still be loved by everyone.
uh huh. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I know. Your
Yeah,
quiet, your silence makes me want to watch season three now.
yeah.
But yeah. So and then the season officially ends with the guy who runs the church. I think it's like Unification or
I thought it would start
something
with a
like that.
C or something. Whatever. It was a
But it ends
Scientology
it
knockoff.
it ends with him talking to the Attorney General, who I think she is. The what's her name? Victoria Newman. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
wrote it down. She's a congresswoman, and it ends with him getting ready to make a deal with her to give her dirt, I guess, on some of the heroes within Vought, and it ends with her being outside his home and her popping his head,
Was that
and
who
it's
he
just like,
was talking to? I don't remember that. I thought he was talking to
yeah,
someone else, and
no, that's who
she.
he was talking to. She's like, I'll see you soon. She's on the phone. She's like, I'll see you soon, as
Mm,
she's walking down the sidewalk, and she was just walking to his house, pretty much.
I remember her doing it. I just don't remember the phone call very much. But
Yeah, it was her. It was her. But yeah, so I really enjoyed season two. I think it was better than one.
yeah,
I will say again, the subtle differences between one is that there was a side plot I wasn't crazy about, but overall, the show is still entertaining, man. It's hilarious. It's dark. It's scary at times. I mean, it.
and
You
it's
get yeah,
horrible. I always like to preface that because this is truly it's
yes.
a horror. And when I say horrible, I don't mean like bad quality. I mean like the things that happen in the show are just horrible. So if you I don't know or don't have a strong stomach or you have some issues with some moral conundrums, this show is not for you.
The
But
range of yeah, the range um of emotions that the show makes you feel is so crazy. Like you could be horrified 1 second, and then the next second you see Butcher ramming a whale on a beach, and
that's
it's like,
right.
and they're sitting inside the whale talking next to its heartbeat. It's like
Yeah, this
the
show you
funniest
just have
stuff.
no idea what you're gonna feel. It's I think that's probably why I like it. It is just so unexpected. Like barring how you feel about any one story beat, you just never know what you're about
Did
to
you know
get.
Seth Rogen was like the producer?
Was he? I don't think I
Yeah,
knew that.
he's the producer of this TV show. I mean,
Huh.
that definitely explains why there's so much humor thrown in there,
But
but
it's not like Seth Rogen humor. Like Seth Rogen humor's very different than this. So, but of course, just because he's a
stoner
producer
humor.
doesn't mean he necessarily has a hand in some of those aspects. Like, here's the thing: this
Yeah.
show is based upon a comic, so I gotta imagine
Mhm.
it's following a lot of those story beats and probably some of the tone. But I have not investigated the comic at all, so I really can't say with any validity or certainty.
All right, guys. Well, I can tell Phoenix is wanting to keep his mouth quiet on stuff.
Yeah,
So
I
let's
just
just
can't
say,
can't.
so let's just say I'm eagerly anticipating moving on to season 3. And next podcast, you can expect we will be talking about season 3,
Well,
and I will be
three
caught
starts
up
out
with
with a
everyone.
bang.